Do I need some amplification? It's okay? Everybody hear me? Okay. So we're not live streaming at the moment because my laptop has decided to crash every time I try to do live streaming. So we're sorting it out, but we're not live streaming at the moment. We are recording for offline viewing, so it will be recorded for posterity. But what I'm going to do is just get straight down to it. I'm just going to provide some welcome, thank yous, opening remarks, and then we'll get straight down to it with the keynote from Jonathan and Jerome, and then we're going to have the panel discussion. So of course, big thank you to VoIP Innovations Aplisay. Well, it's now Sangoma at the back there, so thank you to Wazo. Jerome, is he here or is he still getting his coffee? Okay, well he's still getting his coffee, but they're both sponsors, so thanks for your support in making this possible. And then a whole host of other supporters from Automat, so we have the Automat team there, Idea London for providing the facilities, Aplisay, Rob I think is on his way, it's always the local guys that are the last. Civalto guys at the back there for sponsoring the beer and pizza that we'll be having this evening, which seems to be where we'll achieve peak attendance. It's like yesterday, the number of excuses, Alan, sorry, I'm only arriving in tomorrow morning. I'll be there by lunchtime, but definitely for the pizza. Also, UCL for supporting us, other media sponsors, Telesign, so we'll be hearing from Telesign later. Dean will pop in and out, and also Mind Commerce. So what's TADSummit all about? Well, it's about programmable comms or telecoms, depending on whether you like to use the T or the C word. We use also CXTech, where the C stands for connectivity, communications, collaboration, conversation, and customer. The X for experience, because that's what matters, and tech, because focus is enablers. What makes us different is we have a clear policy. It's written on our website, no BS. And the reason for that is because our industry is filled with a ton of BS. Cloud, yes, cloud's important, but it's not the only answer out there. Lots of fashionable theories out there. We have euphemisms like digital transformation, which means catching up. False wars like in messaging, where it's Microsoft Teams versus Slack. RCS, well, I have the RCS client, thanks to Google, on my phone, and I've been receiving a whole host of old school problems with roaming SMS at the moment. I had Lewis was pinging us SMS me yesterday and I didn't receive it. I'm getting messages sent to me multiple times from people from the US, so it brings me back over a decade. Other terms like API economy, API is an HTTP request. There is no HTTP request economy, it's all about the services. API is just one way of supporting them. You hear, of course, you'll have heard this from my other presentations, BABS, Bay Area Bullshit Artists. They come and will give an opening keynote and tell you that they come from the Bay Area and they know everything, you know nothing, particularly if it's about AI or other stuff. This is no longer relevant, but of course we have amazing math, where 2 + 1.8 equals 5. When I ask how, it's called synergies. And when I explain that isn't synergies about laying people off, well, then it all gets a bit complex. We have other stuff like 5G. Hey, come on. 4G is good enough for most people. Bias quadrants, you see them all the time, where it's all defined by large US enterprise needs. Well, yeah, that's a segment of the market, but it's a niche compared to the rest of the market. We have all the pay-to-pay awards. Somehow, magically now, UCaaS, CSaaS, CPaaS, all have to be provided by one provider. Well, the world's a little bit more complex than that. AI doesn't exist and won't for at least another decade or two. Okay. Inflated expectations. Remember bots about 2 or 3 years ago were going to change customer service? Well, hey, apart from being a sort of a bit of a cool RFQ that you can SMS with, it's really not changed that much. And of course, digital bloody everything. So many of the events append digital to everything. I'm not surprised they're not called digital events now. So that's all the BS, and that's why we have a no BS policy with TADSummit. Just quickly to wrap up, there's been a ton of stuff that's been happening this year. Of course, Sangoma bought VoIP Innovations and Aplisay, so that's the reason we have Sangoma in the back there. And there's been lots of other CPaaS acquisitions. 8x8 bought, oh God, what are they called now? Wavestep a few months ago now. Also, Aerial Direct bought Ipcortex. Now, if Rob was here in the room, it would have been sort of shared out to Rob. Also, Simon, he's on his way in at the moment. He bought CXTech. So again, we're seeing a lot of acquisitions in this space. Also, new categories, which I think is an interesting evolution, which we had hSenid Mobile presenting at TADSummit Asia and at TADSummit Americas around eCPaaS. So this is actually deploying in an enterprise a CPaaS infrastructure. One of the reasons they do that is because, not really for the APIs, it's actually because they have a whole host of simple to use little web forms that make it really easy for creating some basic enterprise services using messaging. We also had set up this year, Quayle is here, so that's good, the Voice Lab, and we'll be hearing from Quayle about that. And of course, now the UK is separated from Europe, it'll need its own Voice Lab now, because it can't possibly have a European Voice Lab. We ran, again, another TADHack global around the world. Some of the locations, like in South Africa, were over 250 people, massive. Also, for whatever perverse reason, been running TADSummit, not just one event, but we've had 3 events running around the world. So we had in Asia, at Chicago last month, and we've got London here. I made reference to this last year about the musical chairs, that is, all the people changing jobs. Boy, this year, there's been so much shifting around and people changing jobs. It really has been musical chairs. Also, in terms of acquisitions, interesting to see a lot more of the web companies getting in on the game. So we saw Zendesk buying Smooch, it's a messaging aggregator. Amazon just keeps growing in terms of adding in more and more functionality. Dean's just joined us. I just said thank yous at the beginning there, Dean, for you being a partner for the event. Cheers. We also had Zoom go IPO and then ramped up and ramped down. So it's sort of close to its IPO price. Slack just went down. Well, hell, come on, where's the value? Enghouse bought Vidyo for about 40 million with annual revenues of 60 million. So there's been, some tough acquisitions in this space as well. It's not just a rosy picture. AT&T decided it's going to take another stab at having a API garden. Well, it's there. But CXTech raised this year in terms of venture funding, not some of the big deals, some of the corporate financing, but over 680 million. So that's, even though it's a relatively mature segment from a VC perspective, it's not fashionable like AI. We're still seeing a lot of investment in this category. Then just to wrap up on some logistics. Coffee and tea are upstairs as well as biscuits. The coffee machine is a little complex. So as you come up to it, make sure there's water at the back. As you open the lever, look in to see whether it's full of coffee capsules. If it is, pull it out, empty it, put it back in, and then you'll get your coffee. It is a little bit of a hassle, but if that gets too much for you, you can always make yourself a cup of tea. And then the agenda, we don't have printed agendas, the agenda's online, there's the URL. That's my piece done, so thank you so much for turning up. There's a couple of chairs here in front if you want to sit at the front.